Conor McGregor is not just a fighter. He is a phenomenon, a man who transformed the world of mixed martial arts with his aggressive style, overwhelming charisma, and unwavering confidence. From the humble streets of Dublin to the top of the UFC, McGregor built an empire with his fists and sharp tongue. But behind his superstar image, there is a much darker story. Scandals, violence, addictions, and accusations have stained his legacy. What was once an inspirational story now seems like a tale of excess and self-destruction. Today, we will go beyond the knockouts, beyond the spectacle, to uncover the real price of success behind the man who redefined the octagon and who now stands on the verge of losing it all. The beginning of his downfall. Before becoming a star, McGregor was already known as a troublemaker in his native Dublin. In his youth, he was involved in multiple bar fights, many stemming from ego clashes and provocations. One of the first police reports against him surfaced in 2009, when he was not yet a public figure. McGregor was involved in a pub fight in Crumlin, his hometown, where a man was left unconscious after an altercation with him. One of his first documented arrests occurred in 2017, when he was detained for reckless driving in Dublin. By then, McGregor was already a UFC star. He was seen speeding through the streets of the Irish capital in a luxury Range Rover. The police stopped him, and according to witnesses, McGregor acted defiantly toward the officers. Although he was released shortly after, the incident marked the beginning of a series of legal troubles that would only become more frequent. It was April 2018 when the world first saw McGregor's most violent and uncontrolled side outside the octagon. It all started with an outburst of fury. Literally, McGregor stormed into the Barclays Center in New York with a group of men and attacked a bus with a metal cart. Inside the bus were UFC fighters, and several were injured. He was arrested and taken to court. The reason? A personal vendetta against Khabib Nurmagomedov, his future rival, who had a dispute with his friend and teammate, Artem Lobov. For McGregor, this was a personal insult, and he decided to take justice into his own hands. If you want to know how it all continued, check out the video about Khabib, the most feared fighter. McGregor was later arrested and faced charges of assault and criminal misconduct. For an ordinary person, an attack of this magnitude would mean years in prison. But McGregor, with his fame and fortune, struck a deal with the justice system. He pleaded guilty to a minor offense, paid a $50,000 fine, and performed a few hours of community service. It was a clear message. Conor McGregor could do whatever he wanted and get away with it. But the most shocking part was not just the crime, it was what happened afterward. The UFC, instead of punishing him severely, ended up using the incident as a promotion for his future fight against Khabib. What many saw as a criminal act, the company saw as the perfect story to sell more tickets. Violence and drug success gave him power, but also arrogance. Just a year after the bus attack, in 2019, McGregor made headlines again. This time for an incident that, although less dramatic, was just as concerning. Security cameras in a Dublin bar captured the moment McGregor punched an elderly man in the face, simply because he refused to try McGregor's proper 12 whiskey. The result was the same as in New York, a negligible €1,000 fine and a public apology. After the bar assault, McGregor's image began to deteriorate rapidly. What was once seen as confidence now looked like unchecked arrogance. What was once entertainment now seemed like real violence. With each new scandal, his legend inside the octagon became more and more tarnished. Several sources have mentioned that McGregor had problems with illicit substances. Although he has never publicly admitted it, leaked images and witness reports suggest his lifestyle was out of control. Witnesses have reported McGregor being involved in wild parties, drug use, and violent altercations outside the octagon. In 2024, during a promotional interview, McGregor exhibited erratic behavior, leading some to speculate he might have been under the influence of illicit substances. Although no concrete evidence was presented, the incident raised concerns among his fans and the media. Additionally, figures from the MMA world have commented on McGregor's lifestyle. UFC commentator Joe Rogan expressed doubts about McGregor's potential return to the sport, citing his party lifestyle and admission of use as factors that could hinder his comeback. Accusations of serious crimes. The worst came later. In 2020 and 2021, McGregor faced multiple accusations of assault. One of the darkest episodes in McGregor's life occurred in 2020, when he was arrested in Corsica for alleged assault. During the trial, the accuser claimed McGregor had a bag of cocaine and shared it with her and her friend. Although his lawyers have denied the accusations, the damage to his reputation was already done. Authorities confirmed that McGregor was detained following a woman's complaint, although he was later released without formal charges. But this was not the only time in 2021. Another similar case came to light, this time in Ireland, where it was reported that McGregor was under investigation for another alleged assault. In June 2023, McGregor was accused of sexual assault again, this time at an NBA event. The victim claimed that McGregor forced her into a bathroom and that she was held against her will. Although his legal team denied the accusations and the case was eventually dropped, the damage was already done. People no longer saw McGregor as a charismatic rebel, but as a man out of control. His erratic behavior in interviews, his attacks on fans and reporters, his constant run-ins with the law, it was evident that the McGregor of before was disappearing. A cheater in combat. Conor McGregor has been the most charismatic and media-driven fighter in UFC history, but his legacy is stained by dirty tactics inside and outside the octagon. From illegal strikes to extreme provocations, McGregor has shown that to him the rules are just a suggestion. Some say they are strategies to win at any cost. Others believe it is simply his aggressive and unpredictable fighting style. When McGregor fought Dustin Poirier in 2014, his confidence was at its highest. He was on an unstoppable streak and was determined to knock him out from the start. He dominated with his characteristic aggressive style. But what few noticed at the time was the illegal blow that helped him win in the middle of the exchange. McGregor threw a left hook that hit the back of Poirier's head. Striking the back of the head is strictly prohibited in the UFC because it can cause severe brain damage. Poirier fell to the ground stunned, and McGregor finished him off with punches until the referee stopped the fight. That illegal blow changed the entire course of the fight. The fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229 was chaos inside and outside the octagon. But what many do not remember is the number of cheats McGregor used during the fight. He grabbed the cage multiple times to avoid being taken down. He stuck his fingers inside Khabib's gloves to control his arm. He delivered illegal knees to Khabib's head when he was on the ground. And he held onto Khabib's shorts to prevent him from taking a better position. The referee warned him several times, but never penalized him. Many believe these cheats were signs of desperation. McGregor knew he could not win cleanly, so he tried anything to resist. But it did not work. The third fight against Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 was the beginning of the end for McGregor. During the first round, McGregor tried to apply a guillotine, but ended up in a bad position. That is where something strange was seen. McGregor put his fingers inside Poirier's gloves to prevent him from escaping. Poirier complained to the referee, but nothing was done. Then McGregor also kicked Poirier in the knee with illegal moves, which many believe may have weakened his own leg. Minutes later, the tragic moment occurred. McGregor tried to step back, and his tibia simply collapsed. The fight was stopped, And McGregor, instead of accepting defeat, continued insulting Poirier and threatening to kill him. McGregor not only lost the fight, he lost his composure, his dignity, and perhaps his last chance to return to the top. The truth is that the rules exist for a reason, and although McGregor has always been a spectacle, his cheats have left a stain on his legacy. Today his career is at a crossroads and the story is not yet over. But what is certain is that McGregor has never played fair, and these are some of his dirty fights. Perhaps he will never compete within the parameters he should on the way to prison. Conor McGregor was once the symbol of discipline, sacrifice, and absolute success. But today, his name is more associated with scandals, accusations, and a life out of control. Today, McGregor faces his worst moment with more legal cases against him, a faltering empire, and an almost finished sports career. The big question is, will he end up in jail? McGregor has dodged jail so far. History has shown that celebrities can buy their freedom, but only up to a certain point. At some point, authorities may decide that enough is enough if a court finally decides to prosecute him for one of his pending cases. McGregor could face years in prison, and if that happens, it would be the confirmation of something many already suspect: his own arrogance was his worst enemy. Despite everything, there are those who believe that McGregor can still redeem himself, that he can return to training, clear his name, and return to the octagon for one last legendary fight. So far, every time he has had the chance to correct course, he has chosen chaos. If he continues on this path, the outcome seems inevitable. If Conor McGregor does not change his life, his next fight will not be in the UFC. It will be in a courtroom, and this time he could lose everything. The same man who built his empire with his fists seems to be destroying it with his own decisions. And now his future may not be in the octagon, but behind bars. Today, Conor McGregor remains a polarizing figure. Some still believe he can return and reclaim his glory. Others think it is only a matter of time before he ends up in jail or something worse. Because history is clear: those who rise too fast tend to fall even harder. Conor McGregor was more than a fighter, he was a phenomenon. But when ego and violence take control, neither money nor fame can save you. This is the price of McGregor's success. What do you think? Does McGregor deserve to end up behind bars? Leave us your comment and subscribe for more stories like this.